Hey Raiders, in this video I tested out the damage from shooting, planting mines, throwing grenades.
Shoot them, stab them, drown them, burn them, drop a big old rock on the head.
Directly to the core of the Matriarch, so we finally know exactly which guns are the best for damaging the core of the Matriarch. On all of the weapons I'm gonna be using the largest extended mag I have, except for the light ammo weapons, because I do not have it. Now, without further ado, let's start with the legendary weapons. The Aphelion, for a legendary battle rifle, it seems awful at mid to long range, but good in short range, more like a shotgun. I sincerely thought that maybe we haven't figured out the proper way to use this legendary weapon besides shooting rocketeers. And so I thought maybe it would do great damage to the Matriarch's core up close, but... And that's all it does, and that's a low bar compared to any other weapon in this video. Now, the Equalizer is the go-to legendary weapon if you wish to tear down the armor of any Arc unit. This weapon is particularly good at shredding off the armor of the Arc, but it's also good at doing damage directly to the Matriarch's core. It's very solid damage, but if your goal is to shoot at the core, there are better, cheaper alternatives out there. The Jupiter is probably my very favorite legendary weapon because it directly goes through the layers of armor and hits directly the core. But it's a little bit inconsistent when it comes to the damage it does. It's always a very solid damage, but at the minimum, it does 477 damage. And in the best case, it can do around the 500s per shot. Now, let's talk epic weapons. As you know, shotguns have very weak armor penetration, but the core is not armor. It's the weak spot, and shooting the weak spots with a shotgun is very effective, so I had my hopes up for this weapon. And yes, this weapon does good damage, reloads pretty quickly and can empty its clip very fast. I did not expect much from using the Tempest to shoot the core, since it's obviously not a very high damage weapon, and it's mostly used for PvP. And even though you can see I missed some shots, you can tell it's not made for shooting the core. The Hullcracker is already one of the better weapons there is to use against Arc, since you can always buy it from the Trader gun shop for only 30,000 Raider coins every day.
That's quite big.
Honestly, the damage is pretty crazy, and this is the best gun so far. The Bettina is a pretty good weapon. It's very good at shredding armor from Arc, and it's a cheaper alternative to the Equalizer, especially if your goal is to take those armor plates off. And it's probably one of the worst out of all the epic weapons. I was honestly going to skip light ammo weapons for this video, but I decided against it last minute. Wow, that was so dumb. Now, it's time for the rare weapons. The Torrente is my favorite weapon to take off the armor on top of the Matriarch, so I was curious about how much damage it would do directly to the core. It's honestly pretty decent damage. Too bad it takes forever to reload this thing, and it spits out 100 ammo per reload. The Venator is a pretty good weapon for PvP, but it's not that good against Arc, so I wasn't expecting much from it. Well, at least it's better than the Aphelion. The Renegade has a pretty high damage per shot, and with an extended mag, its capacity is very good. I was excited to see how much damage it did to the core. That's very good damage considering you can use the Renegade to shoot at the Matriarch from a very safe distance and behind cover. That's a lot of damage, and if you equip an extended Mach 3, that's 12 more bullets for a total of 20 bullets for a total of 2700 XP, making it the best weapon so far. And with those out of the way, let's get into the uncommon weapons. The Vulcano performed really good, which led me to believe that maybe the Toro would be just as good or maybe even better. That's pretty crazy, because that's the highest damage of all weapons, including the Osprey. Now the Anvil has only 6 bullets, but it has pretty good damage, so let's see how it does. That's very solid damage, that's 120 damage per shot, and you can always shoot from a safe distance. For the rest of the weapons, I really didn't expect much at all. I was thinking they were probably going to be even worse than the Aphelion. And finally, let's talk about the common weapons. The Ferro is one of the cheapest and most reliable weapons you can craft in the game. It does 120 damage per shot, it reloads pretty fast, and it's one of the cheapest ways to actually do damage to the Matriarch from a safe distance with a cheap loadout. The Kettle is one of my favorite weapons in the game. And mind you, a nerf to the Kettle and Stitcher has already been announced. And this is pre-nerf. So if they nerf the damage of the Kettle and the Stitcher, the damage shown in this video will be a little bit lower. The Stitcher performed as expected. Almost as good as the Aphelion. While the Rattler is also a medium ammo weapon, it is also a pretty bad one. Surprisingly enough, the Hairpin does exactly half the damage as the Ferro. Basically 60 per shot. And so that concludes every single weapon's damage to the core of the Matriarch. Now, let's get to the explosives. Here's where I come in and state the obvious. The Deadline is just far superior than any other explosive in the game. As you can tell here, some of the fire didn't end up on the core and ended up just falling to the floor. Which just adds to the inconsistency of these grenades. That was about 250 damage per grenade, and now I'm using mines. With the mines, it was honestly a little bit more damage. I did the math and subtracted the damage done by the Kettle, and the mines did about 292.6 damage per mine. That was about 660.5 damage per grenade. That was 772.5 damage per grenade. Trailblazers are very chaotic, because since the grenade gets stuck, I'm not sure if it keeps generating the gas cloud that explodes or not. In this case, only 2 of the Trailblazers hit, and it was pretty massive damage for only 2 of them. This is probably the worst measured grenade in this video, because it gets so chaotic and the explosion has such a big radius and the Matriarch bounces you around so much that you end up dying to your grenades. But it does about 474 damage per grenade, give or take. And that's it, you guys. And no, the Wolfpack doesn't get a mention here because of its immense inconsistency. You're lucky if you ever hit a full Wolfpack on a Matriarch that is a full armor with the amount of spawns she creates, plus the rockets hitting whatever they want and not aiming for the weak spots. Hope this video had some useful information for you all. As always, like and subscribe so I can keep making content for you guys. And good luck on the Topside.